News from the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens have fired longtime head coach John Harbaugh. That's been confirmed by our lead insider, Jonathan Jones. Harbaugh is out after 18 seasons in Baltimore. He was the second longest tenured head coach in the NFL, behind only Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. Under Harbaugh, the Ravens were a perennial playoff contender. He led them to their most recent Super Bowl title in the 2012 season, but this season was a disappointment, with Lamar Jackson nursing various injuries for most of the year. The Ravens, as a result, finished 8-9 and missed the playoffs. Our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. JJ, bring us up to speed with this major news out of Baltimore.
This is huge news, Haley. You're talking about the second longest tenured active head coach with just one team in John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens. The winningest coach with the Baltimore Ravens in that franchise's history. One of the few active head coaches who has won a Lombardi, of course, missing out on the postseason, but not that long ago in the AFC Championship game, just a drop two-point conversion away from potentially going back last year. The head coach of a multi-time MVP, John Harbaugh, just signed a 3-year contract extension in the summer. And yes, of course, again, a disappointing season. Ravens haven't been able to get over the hump. And we were all wondering, with that AFC North battle with the Ravens and the Steelers, if the loser of that game would potentially wind up no longer being the coach of that team. A lot of questions around Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course. But it's John Harbaugh who, just a couple days after the conclusion of the season, winds up being fired by the Baltimore Ravens. Multiple years still left on his deal. And Haley, I am here to tell you, and we're going to really dive into this, but this has incredible ramifications, not only for the future of potentially Lamar Jackson and that franchise, not only for the head coaching candidate pool, because a lot of teams, you would think the Ravens are going to vault way up to the top of this list. There were 6, now there's 7. And of course, the other teams looking for a head coach, well, now maybe the top candidate is now available.
So many things to consider. You mentioned it, the Baltimore angle of this, how this impacts the coaching search around the NFL. But I want to start here with Lamar Jackson. There's been a lot made over the last few weeks, last few years even, of his relationship with John Harbaugh, with his commitment to Baltimore. How will this be a factor with Lamar Jackson going forward now without a head coach?
To be determined, of course. Look, the firing of John Harbaugh certainly signals that the Ravens thought that there needed to be some fresh blood in there, that they thought that there needed to be some sort of cultural reset going on there. Whether that directly relates to Lamar Jackson and the rest of the team, if it's a collective, if it's something more pinpointed, I'm sure we're going to figure out over time with more reporting. But obviously, this has not settled Lamar Jackson's future with the Baltimore Ravens, because there's still a whole head coach to hire left to do. And if you go back a couple of years when they hired Todd Monken eventually as offensive coordinator, Lamar Jackson wanted to be more involved in that process for offensive coordinator. Surely and certainly the highest paid player on the team today and ever in Lamar Jackson will be consulted and be involved in this search for a head coach. If he's not, if they don't ask what he thinks about anything, I think that is a signal about Lamar's standing in Baltimore moving forward. As it stands right now, though, I have to imagine Lamar will be involved. And then once they do install that coach, how does that coach and Lamar interact with one another? So, again, this is major. This is a franchise that doesn't typically make moves like this, right? And what it means, we can't say just yet, because we have to see who they hire. But certainly and surely, if the Baltimore Ravens want Lamar Jackson in their future, they will involve Lamar Jackson in their present, which is now a head coaching search.
A lot to think about. Lamar, after that game, was asked about his future in Baltimore. He said, I can't even think about it right now. I'm still so stunned at how this game against the Steelers ended. So a lot of decisions to be made there. If we go back to John Harbaugh, you talked about it. Obviously, a lot of people are going to want to speak to them about their head coaching openings here. What's next for him?
I think that John Harbaugh is going to have his pick. Now, right now, there are 6 head coach openings, right? You have the Giants, you have the Titans, the Browns, the Las Vegas Raiders. We see right here of course, the Cardinals and the Falcons. Of course, he's not going to the Raiders. There are 6 available jobs to him. I can't see or envision a world where he chooses the Cleveland Browns or the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, will Tom Brady try to make a run at John Harbaugh? I mean, he's the top coach that's going to be out there on the market. He's clearly the most decorated coach who's going to be out there on the market. I don't have to talk to John Harbaugh to tell you that I'm sure that he wants to continue coaching. The New York Giants, very proud franchise, one that hasn't had any sort of winning any time lately. Do they want to turn to John Harbaugh and with general manager Joe Schoen, who may be on the last year of his contract, and will they turn over more of the football operations to John Harbaugh? This is a situation and scenario where not only can he choose where he wants to go, Harbaugh that is, but he can also sort of choose how much power he wishes to have, wants to have a little more control than the traditional head coach does, a little more say in personnel matters. He'd be able to do that. This is, Haley, we've been saying it for weeks, a weaker head coaching candidate pool. Okay? And so when you get a guy like this, a big fish, who clearly still has it, I think a lot of people, reasonable people, can agree that a change could have been made in Baltimore, that people can agree to that it just got a little stale there, that it might be better for both sides. John Harbaugh, inarguably, is a top candidate this cycle, and I think a lot of people would argue is the top candidate now.
I mean, JJ, you said Tom Brady reaching out and the Raiders. That gave me goosebumps. Obviously, a lot to be decided with a lot of these openings, but we know you'll keep your eye on it. We'll be checking in with you a lot as the offseason firings have already begun. You can now make it 7 openings in the NFL. John Harbaugh, the latest there with the Ravens, excuse me.
Let's welcome in NFL expert, former player Lige Douzable. This